Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Ecamm fam. I am so excited to be back here in front of the camera with all of you. I'm hanging out in the Ecamm Amesbury studio. It's a pretty bleary day here, so I'm glad that other Katy is hanging out with me to bring some sunshine. We're not quite in spring yet here in New England. It's definitely in that blustery, cold kind of weather. But let me know where you are. Hopefully you're enjoying some sunshine and hopefully warmer weather. If not, just on its way soon. I see Emily and Paul and P are all hanging out in the chat. If you're hanging in the chat and you have any questions for me or for today's amazing guest, be sure to throw a Q and a colon in front of it so that I don't miss anything. Although I'm getting better at just really keeping a close eye. Thankfully, these streams are not so crazy that I miss anything that comes up. But if you have a question, we'd be thrilled to answer it. If you are brand new and you somehow stumbled across this stream, hi, I'm Katy and I'm the director of marketing here at Ecamm. And this show is all about showing you the amazing and wonderful ways that all of our Ecamm fam are using the software to power their businesses, brands, podcasts, live shows, events, presentations, and everything in between. Emily is in Florida with the sun. Oh, Emily, I'm so jealous. I was looking at the Discord group this morning, and Andy is on vacation with his family in Florida as well. And his photos, I was just like, oh, it's so cold here. So cold here still, but getting there. We're getting there. We're getting up to the warmer weather. It's good for hiking. I'll keep convincing myself self of that. Well, without further ado, before I get too distracted in weather and in levels of jealousy about everyone's vacation plans and sunny locales, I want to introduce today's guest, other Katy, amazing Katy, fantastic Katy. Katy Simpson is here hanging out with me today. And we're both in red.
We are. I'm a bit over red, but anyway.
No, there's never too much red. I'm very sad. We need to identify this right at the very beginning. I'm wearing my red chicken t-shirt. It says, "Hold my drink, I've got to pet that chicken." But I wear it so much that the chicken is like faded. He's nice. You can barely see him anymore. So, or her, I guess, probably a hen, but I definitely need to get some more chicken t-shirts. Katy is also a chicken keeper. All Katys keep chickens. That is how it goes.
Yeah. Katys love their chickens.
Katys love their chickens.
Let us know if you love chickens as well in the chat.
I had a disastrous turn of events, and when I moved houses, I lost my entire flock to a raccoon attack. So I currently am I know it's horrible. I'm without chickens. So over Christmas break, I did what every crazy chicken person does, and I went on to, there's here in the States, maybe, I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but in the States there are a couple of websites of big hatcheries that are nearby. So you can order chickens online and they come in the mail. You go to your post office and you pick up your baby chicks. I spent hundreds of dollars on every fancy pants breed of chicken. I was sad and I was like, I'm going to buy all the chickens. No one stopped me. So now my live streams are going to be incredible. Live from the coop with all of my ridiculous chickens. They're coming in July. So get ready, everyone. It's going to be insane.
Oh. I'm Martin says he's got
sorry. Hat envy.
Hat envy.
Yeah, hat envy. Me too. I can't pull off hats, but I love you. I love yours. I love yours.
Yeah, well, hats are a bit of my thing. So I don't often wear hats on my live streams, but I'm going to improve my lighting a little bit so you can actually see my eyes. I pulled it. Yeah, because sometimes it's sort of, you can't really see my eyes. But I pulled it back a little bit, so I do love a good hat.
Oh, love it. Well, I so appreciate you jumping on the show, and you were so patient because originally you jumped on to be the same day as Ken and Glenn's Q&A, and I was like, oh no, I have to move it. So thank you for your patience. But for those of you who don't know you, and it doesn't look like there are a lot here in the chat, everyone's like, Katy, yay! But why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing in the world of video?
Oh, hi, everybody. Lovely to see you here. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you so much, wonderful Katy and the wonderful Ecamm fam for having little me from the UK. So yeah, I've got such an interesting story that I want to tell a bit about how Ecamm has changed my life. And so I started as a musician, as a singer, a singing teacher, and then sort of melded into a bit of beauty therapy and working for the police and all
Wow.
sorts of things
Everything. I love it.
into into Ecamm changing my life. And I now love helping busy female entrepreneurs to boost their visibility and impact and go live with video and podcasting. And I have a vodcasting method that helps them to do all that and get out there in billions of places without burning out. And that's what's happened for me as well. People say to me, "You're everywhere." I was just saying to Katy, actually, she's everywhere.
I hear that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I'm really not. But this is the magic of Ecamm and what it can do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing. Everyone is always telling me that as well. They're like, "Oh, you must be so busy. You're all over the place." And I'm like, I think it's just because I'm creating videos so often these days, or I'm live streaming, and because Ecamm makes it really easy to always be recording, it's super easy for me to just post those all over the place or share them, or so. I definitely have upped my visibility, but it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm not really everywhere all the time. I'm here in this space, hanging out and having fun, and I just bring you all along for the journey. So, oh, I love it. Val says that she loves the red, and she is here popping in. Hey, Val,
Hi,
always good to see you.
Hi.
So I love what you are doing because I think it's so incredibly important, and particularly with women, we often overcommit. I'm super guilty of this, and do too much and overthink, and aren't sure if we're doing the right thing, and want to be successful. There's all these voices in our heads. How are you helping women kind of push aside that noise and find themselves in particular on camera and in this space of vodcasting and video production and live streaming?
Yeah, there's quite a lot in there to unpack.
3 minutes, go.
But yeah, so first of all, I think if you can use a tool like Ecamm that allows you to do a lot of things and it's not highly complicated to use, and that really helps. Practicing going live and just being you. I really feel that it's important to just be ourselves on live video and just learn. Even though a platform like Ecamm is, you can make it really, really fancy, and that's fantastic. You can add your branding. You can do tons of really cool, very fun, very exciting things. There's loads of things that you can play with and have tons of fun. You need to learn to be yourself and be comfortable on camera. So that is, like, I think the most important thing. So at the moment I'm doing a free live video challenge, just to
it's April,
just to get people it's April, and it's leader month. So just to get people chatting to each other on live video, and just being themselves and opening up and learning to be a bit vulnerable and real and just get used. So practicing is really, really important, but then the workflow as well. I'm somebody who I probably have at least some form of ADHD. I get very overwhelmed with things. I have chronic illness as well, which makes me exhausted. So I can't spend hours and hours repurposing my stuff, fiddling around with things. I need to get quite a tight workflow that I can do the same thing each week. And I love ticking off having a
Same.
little list.
I love a
right,
checklist. Yeah.
this is what I do. Yeah, yeah. So I do this first tick, that first tick, do, and done it. And then people think that I'm everywhere because I've just got this workflow down, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
You've achieved your whole week's content from just going live once. That's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Mainly, doing a live training once, and then you can do like videos on your phone and more relax things whenever you want. But yeah, so I think practicing using a tool that enables you to do lots of different things in one take, and then getting a workflow done is super helpful.
Yeah, I think cutting through the noise is probably one of the most difficult things for many of us, and can make even working with Ecamm really difficult, because there are so many different features and things, and you everything is so highly visual. We're all able to see what everyone else is doing in their live streams and podcasts and videos, and so it's really easy to say, I want to add in, more transitions, or I want to be able to, add in these different cooler graphics. And it can be really difficult to figure out what works best for you and for what you're trying to accomplish. And how do you make those kinds of small changes to improve your workflow to get that all around final result that matters. I struggle with that a ton. I'm always like, oh, I want to add in like cool flying graphics, or I want to change these things out. But even with this show, I'm like, oh, these background blue graphics are not even really on brand. Like they were, something that I think Diana Gladney and her team had made for me a while back, and I just started using them, and I was like, I should probably change this up. But I'm in like a workspace now for this show that I don't think I'm quite ready to kind of, get those levels of distractions and try to figure out all of it, because it would completely throw off my checklist and kind of my weekly workflow. So yeah, those things can be really difficult, and I think in many ways that's something we don't think about, right? We're like, oh, we need the software and we need you don't think about kind of the process and how to make it work as effectively as you should.
Yeah, I think we have to be careful of perfectionism too. Most people would look at this and think it's totally amazing what you're producing, because it is.
Yeah.
But we get used to that, and we think, oh no, I want this and that, and then we get this comparison thing as well, that we see what other people are doing. And I think because we're so working at a high level ourselves, we can tend to sort of fixate on these sort of things when actually it looks and sounds amazing. So I think we have to check ourselves and remember that what we're doing is amazing and it's a really high level, and not allow ourselves to get too distracted on things that aren't so important.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not important at all. Maybe they're not.
Feels really important in the moment, but it's probably not that big of a deal. Yeah, it is life-changing when you can unlock that. And I've said this a number of times, but I distinctly remember going from feeling really comfortable off the camera and on a stage, or like presenting and talking to people in real life, to now, I can record a video for a presentation I need to do, or send it through to someone really quickly and easily. I almost always do it live. I have either a friend watching in the comments or sitting in the in the interview chat, kind of in the background, because for me it just feels safer, and it's so opposite to what I would have initially thought. But for me, it just feels safer to be doing it live, to know that I only have one take, because it forces me to let go of that level of perfectionism. I'm not going to edit. I'm not going to sit there and be like, Hi, I'm Katie. I'm the director of Mark. Oh, I said that wrong. Stop. Hi, I'm Katie. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, this thing in the background looked weird. I was losing so much time recording and re-recording and re-recording and getting frustrated and feeling like it never looked right and trying to, I've never been great at editing, so trying to pull that together and make it the end result look the way I wanted it to look it was just incredibly freeing when I realized, oh, I can let some of that go if I force myself to do it live, or even just it's recorded, but it's in that kind of live to tape format where I don't stop. I just go through the content. I feel like the content is better in the end because I'm not spending all that time thinking, oh, I should have said this. I should have done this in that way. I'm just really focused on the content and on the viewer and on the final result rather than on how I feel like I look or whether or not something ran across in the background or if I, said my title or my description the way that I initially thought or had written out. I think it allows me to plan things out in advance and then be able to just go. And it is really freeing, I think, and makes a really big difference.
Yeah,
Even though it feels
definitely.
very opposite to what you would think.
Yeah. So, you've had a journey, quite a fast journey of learning to do live video, haven't you? And just jumping in the deep end and doing it. And now you're practiced with it. You love it more than not doing that. And I think it's so freeing. And I think if you think about people who are like recording artists, like singers, I think a lot of the time they're used to. I mean, Val does this all the time. She knows far more about recording than I do. But a lot of the time, I think they do their first take, even though they've done loads of takes, because the first one is the freshest and it just sounds
has the most
best.
energy. Yeah, you're not in your head. Yep.
Yeah. So often what we're going to produce in live, even though maybe we say or there are little mistakes, things like that, it's going to be our most energized, fresh, real, authentic, inverted commas, take that we could do anyway. So I think these days people, I mean, I'm all for fantastic edited YouTube videos. They're great. And they tend to be shorter because they're cropped and you add the B-roll and it makes it very entertaining and easy to watch, quick and whatever. But people really need connection with people. I think we're desperate for that in these times as well. We want to see the warts and all, and as Luria Petrucci says, embrace your flaws. We don't have to edit every single little thing out all the time. Sometimes it's appropriate and helpful, but a lot of the time you don't need to do that. So
we have a great question coming in about workflow. So Emily wants to know if you could share some details on what your weekly workflow looks like. Like, what is the first step, second step, third step? How are you working through to keep organized and keep on top of everything?
So I use a few tools to do that. They really help with the speed. Ecamm has this fab new way of going straight into Descript. So what I do, my workflow is for me doing a live training and then I edit that straight away afterwards because that stops me putting it off not doing it. I edit it straight afterwards and schedule it to my podcast. So I will do my live video and immediately at the end it pops up on the Ecamm screen, would you like to send this straight to Descript? So I press that. And then Descript is this amazing tool that download your video or your audio. If it's a video, that's great because you can do more with it. And it transcribes it. And as I'm going through listening to it and watching the words sort of karaoke style on the Descript platform, I can easily pull out, edit things that aren't right, or highlight quotes and save that. I can think, oh, that will make a really good little short video. So I highlight all that little bit and save that as a short video to sort that out later. That will be a good quote. Plonk that into Canva. And then I put that into a program called Alitu, which I really love, and it's not that well known still.
It's a great program.
I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of a trailblazer for Alitu. They're doing so great. It's very visual and colourful. Alitu is, so basically it's an all-in-one podcasting platform now. So it's actually your hosting if you want it to do that as well. But you can edit and you can put the bits of your podcast in front of you in a line. You can put the intro here, fade out, fade into your main bit here. You can see it all on the screen. You can move it around, and that suits me fine because I can see visually what I'm doing. And then it's scheduled. I added a little description, links and things like that, and then I can play around with my little short form videos and graphics as well. So it generally takes me about 1.5 hours to do all of that from a half an hour approximately live show. So that's the workflow at the moment that works well for me.
We have a really similar workflow here at Ecamm for a lot of the different videos that we do, and I agree. I think really being able to, use a tool to create the content initially, and if you're able to do it in video, that is the hardest part of the process. I don't know if you agree, Katy, but I feel like that, like thinking up the content and what you're going to talk about and what the show is and all of that is the hardest part. And then once you've done it, tools like Descript, and it sounds like Alitu also does, similar kinds of things, really help you pull all of those nuggets out. They were in your head, you've gotten them out in a video format, and now you can grab the audio, the text, you can turn it into graphics. You can almost do too much with all of that, but you have that starting point that then you're able to use in a number of different ways and can go back and use, from past episodes, from past content that you've shared. You can kind of pull back out those nuggets and share them in a number of different ways across different channels, which just makes things so much easier and faster. Now I don't think a lot about, what do we want to talk about today on, on Facebook or on LinkedIn? I don't think about those kinds of things because we have this huge back catalog of, valuable, helpful resources just from all of the videos that we're doing on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's so good. And I mean, people talk about they can say that multi-streaming, which Ecamm now does as well, and repurposing a live show that you've sort of maybe focused it on YouTube or focused it on your Facebook audience or wherever it is. That was mainly the first thing in your mind. They can say that it's never going to be as effective as doing a podcast, let's say, just on for your audio listeners. I do a bit of both. So like you're going to do your lives from the chicken coop, I sometimes do that myself.
I love it.
But maybe it's just for my podcast listen. So I sometimes do like a shorty episode that I'm just speaking to them. So I think it's nice that in your podcast, in your Facebook feed or whatever, that you're doing a little bit of a different things. So you don't always have to just repurpose one thing bleh, there it is out to all the platforms. But you can do that, but also some individual work to those different places. And I personally think that just changes things up, makes it interesting, and actually adds something to it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it doesn't really take that much extra work. Sometimes it feels like, it's like, okay, I need to record, this other thing specifically for this place, or I need to, add this extra step in to be able to hit this audience. But yeah, I think you're right. I think thinking through, okay, what would a live audience enjoy on YouTube, let's say, versus a listener audience that's out on one of the podcast apps. There's also, the concept of any of the behind the scenes. This morning, so Luis is our producer on the Flow podcast that we do for Ecamm, and he was saying yesterday we always have this, like, probably 15 to 20 minute tech check before we live stream our podcast, and then that kicks off our process. And we've been sort of talking through, we actually create a bunch of really awesome content during the tech check. We're talking behind the scenes, we're troubleshooting things that happen. Our audience probably would like that, at least one of our audiences, as much as the actual main content of the show, because of who we are and because of what kind of audience we have. We're like, we could just record it. We were trying to think through, like, can we grab this as just a recording? We don't really want to live stream this part because we're still, tech checking. We're using Ecamm to get it all ready, so we can't really. We're like, we can just record this part, stop the recording, and then switch over and go live, and then we have this recorded bit. And that would be great, to be able to chop up into smaller clips. We could use that as kind of a behind the scenes, but it's not like we're creating any additional content for that. So, that might be, in your case as viewers, it might be, it might be a behind the scenes. It might be getting ready. It might be like, a fun additional, like, silly conversation with a guest that you have that might add some personality to a show that you do regularly. But it's not, sometimes, again, it feels like, I need to do all of these steps on my checklist in order to be successful. Sometimes it's thinking through, what are you already doing? Is there a way to capture that? Or is there a way to make that feel like an experience? That's how the Katys are everywhere all the time. That's why you see Katys everywhere doing all of the things. You just got to maximize what you already have so that you're not,
you're absolutely right. Yeah. I love that, because something that's in my mind all the time is, I really ought to create reels. What am I going to talk about?
Yeah, when am I going to do that? Yeah.
And you can literally spend hours just doing one reel, and then maybe hardly anyone listens to it anyway. So something that I have done a few times, which I've seen other people probably doing this, I've been trying to work out how they've done it. There's either they have done their whole live training, and then at the end of it, when they're still live, so they don't have that procrastination thing, they just say to the people watching, I'm just going to do a really quick recap. So they make themselves just like do a 1 minute.
That's smart. Yeah.
We did this and this and this, and watch the whole thing, so they can do a reel at the end of their live video, and then they can just crop it into script or wherever, so it's portrait style. So I've done that. The other thing I've done is just have my phone on a little
tripod
stand thing.
I love it.
It does need to be quite in front of you. If you have it too much at the side, then you're not going to be looking at your audience. So if you create a reel when you're looking completely somewhere else for the whole time, they're not going to be engaged so much. So but you don't have to keep your phone recording for the whole of it. You can, if you've got like some of these have a little remote control, and you can just, without fumbling around, hang on a minute, you can easily just press record on your phone, and you're just recording a little clip of what you're saying, and then that can go on a reel, and it's immediately going to be the right size anyway without you having to do anything, and it's on your phone already. So
Oh, that's clever.
that's another way of doing reels, because reels and video YouTube shorts are really good at the moment, aren't they? So yeah, as Katie says, you don't need to think, oh, I've got to spend another day doing this. Just use your time, like she says, use your behind the scenes time. That's brilliant. Everyone loves that sort of thing. Or utilize a clip of you actually doing it live. For me, that sort of thing, it takes a little bit of setting up, especially initially when you're not used to it. But I find the setup time is miles easier than the overwhelm and oh, I've got to do the, the exhaustion sort of thing sets in afterwards. I'd rather spend a little bit more time preparing and then doing it either just before or during the live than thinking I need to create more content and never getting around to it.
Looking at your to-do list that says create reels and you're like, oh no.
Maybe one day.
So what are some of the other than camera confidence, what are some of the pain points or the questions that your clients have as they think about getting better at video?
So one of my specialisms is in voice, and everybody hates their voice, which is so sad.
So true.
Because it's part of their beautiful selves and we're all unique. But a lot of people think that they can't improve their voice, that they're just stuck with it, they're born with it, that's it. If I just said and then I'm talking about filler words.
That's how it goes.
If they make lots of filler words all the time, or you speak in a monotone, or you speak very nasally, a lot of people have these sort of issues that they really hate. So I like helping them with that. I like helping them look good. So tech always helps with that, but also a little bit of lippy sometimes helps people. It helps them to feel a bit more confident. If they're like me and like very English and, very sort of pale eyebrows and stuff like that, they can feel like they've sort of fade into the background. So help them a little bit with that sort of thing to make their eyes pop and make people sort of focus on them a little bit more. So those sort of things. There's lots of stuff that you can do without even talking about technology, without having to spend a whole load of money, because we all have that. It's gas, isn't it? Gear acquisition syndrome.
I don't know who coined that, but I love it. I love it.
We all think we need this, we need that, and these things all really help. But actually, there's so much that we can do more, and bringing our personalities out onto the screen, into the audio. All those things are important. And talking about voice, going back to that, lots of people don't really think about that at all these days. And it's quite a basic thing that we can all improve on, just, easily. Definitely. Just do a little fun warm up. I mean, one of my best friends ever, as well as Katie, in the Ecamm fam is Ian Anderson Gray, who also was a trained singer as well as me. And he does some great vocal warm ups. So go and follow him if you want to find those. So there's loads of stuff that you can do, and I help people to get energized but also relaxed. That sounds opposites, doesn't it? But it's not.
It's not.
No. So if we can, if I love a little bit of dancing, in my countdowns. that just gets me going.
Yeah.
But also just doing a bit of breathing, slow breathing, and just chilling myself in that way, but excite being excited as well,
Yeah.
with a bit of dancing. So yeah, before you go live, get rid of nerves by doing something that really relaxes you, but get excited and lift your energy with something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
If that's watching a little cartoon or something on YouTube, I don't know, but whatever it is, if we can build our excitement, and if we can focus on the things that we love talking about, focus on the people that we love to help, you will really, I don't know whether it's the right word, enigmatic. It might be completely the wrong word. You're very good at English, Katy. It might be the wrong
I
word.
think
But
that's correct. You're putting me on the spot now. It probably means something totally different, but it sounds correct to me.
what I mean is, whether that's the right word or not, um, you become very exciting and engaging to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
Your voice will sound interesting. It will go up and down. It will have different dynamics, so different volumes in it. Your eyes will crinkle up with joy and excitement. Your breathing will sound more relaxed but excited. So yeah, I love helping people to amp themselves up, and then really focus on what they love and who they love helping when they're making their content, and then the whole thing just comes alive. um
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I love. I'm looking at Val's comments here in the chat where she says Paul freaks me out by counting the last 10 seconds before we go live on the show, so that her energy is super high. I will say that, and everyone is a little bit different, so this comes down to probably your personality. But having people, whether that's having a guest on, having a co-host, or just having some people that you trust sitting in the chat, whether it's moderators or maybe your stream is small enough that you don't even need moderators, you just need some friends in the chat. Like seeing those voices contributing, like, laughing, seeing the little emojis pop up, being able to have someone, ask the right questions or smile or laugh at something that you're saying. All of those kinds of things for most of us is really calming and helps us remember, like, oh, this is a conversation. People are having fun. This is, what I'm doing is bringing value to people. Those visual reminders, I think, are really helpful for all of us. And I know that when I was learning on how to get more comfortable on camera, that was 95% of it, was just seeing people in the chat or hearing people who were joining me say, like, oh, that was a really fun conversation, or that was a great question, or, oh, great tip. I learned that. All of those things are just visual reminders that, oh yeah, I'm doing this for a reason. People are enjoying it. It makes me enjoy the experience better as well.
yeah, massively. It's it live. I adore live video, and with a program like Ecamm, where you can see all the comments coming in from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just so wonderful, and you realize live what a difference you're making. It's much harder just podcasting. I absolutely adore podcasting. It's really great for if you're using it for your business, getting higher ticket clients, for example, because they're people who are very busy in general,
Yeah.
and they'll be out and about, and they just want to plug you in their ears. It
Yes.
creates a different sort of community, because people will generally be listen to your whole episode. It downloads immediately onto their phone. They can listen when they want, and they will be very what's the word, dedicated to your show. Live video is harder these days because, like Katy said, it's hard to stand out from the noise. People will be scrolling, and you tend to get people dropping in and dropping out. So it's harder in that way, but you can get that immediate sense of, oh, so and so's there. I mean, in the other way, people can get quite freaked out about, oh, I've got to focus on my content and somebody's saying something and I don't know what to do. So just give yourself a break if you're like that, and allow yourself to have a little run of show. So you just put it up on your computer screen next to you, or on some piece of paper or whatever next to you, and allow yourself to do an intro to welcome everybody, and then maybe give yourself a chance to just say to them, oh, I'm just going to have a look in the chat, and just give yourself little points where you can just breathe and say hi to people. It is so important to do that as well, because otherwise, if you do have live viewers, like we've got loads of people having a wonderful chat saying lovely things in here, and I'm not meaning to ignore you, but
Emily wants you to know how great you are. We need to call that out. She left a comment. She says you're a great coach. Oh, I love it. I always love the chat. You are. This is super helpful. Emily.
Oh, great. I'm glad. Thank you. So if we sort of panic and then just ignore everybody, it makes your audience feel a bit, oh, they don't love me. Maybe I won't bother next time. So it is. Oh, I've frozen. Oh, no,
you're back. You're good.
Excellent. Yeah. So try and give yourself and give your audience a time, when you interact with them, and you can say that at the beginning. I'm just going to give point 1, and then we'll have a look in the chat, something like that. So hold your questions or write your questions, and I'll get to them just after point 1, so that they know what to expect and they know that you're there for them. So all this just takes practice, and give yourself grace to try it. You're human. You don't have to rush through. Again, talking about Laura Petrucci, she talks about the what she call it, the live video monster or gremlin or something.
The monster, yeah. She's got a hilarious graphic that comes up. It's true. Yeah. We all get a little. Even doing it for a while, you still have those moments of or if something goes wrong, like you were saying, oh, I think I'm a bit frozen. Like those moments where you're like, oh no, it's not the quality that I want, or something happens. It can still give us a moment of fear, or that monster comes out, for sure.
Yeah. So we all have to just give ourselves grace and realize that when you're live, like if you work with animals, for example, or whatever, things are going to go wrong. And that's okay. That's part of it. It's not going to be perfect in inverted commas. It's going to be real. So and
it's I agree. I think it's a really good starting point. So you had said earlier that there are some amazing videos out there on YouTube that are certainly pre-produced and heavily edited. Those in many ways are harder to do. So if you're watching and you want to get into video, or you want to start up in this space and figure out exactly how it works best for you and for your business and for what you're trying to accomplish, starting with live video or a live to tape, experience, or just recording short, imperfect, authentic videos is going to give you all of that practice to be able to get to, an end state of being able to have a really beautifully produced final video, if that's your goal. I mean, some of us, that's not what we're creating, or that, that's not part of our mission or part of our marketing. But yeah, I do think, there's all these different, we're at such an interesting time of life where there's all these options available to us that traditionally used to be millions of dollars and a closed soundstage or television studio. And now we have the ability to create, podcasts and live streams and short videos and long produced videos, by and large for next to nothing compared to what it used to cost, and really just, a lot easier than it ever used to be as well. So I think it's great to be able to help each other accomplish our goals. And I always love talking to coaches, because I think it's just so special that, people who are there to serve others and to help others reach their dreams and their, pursue their passions as well. I think it's what you're doing is really important. So I'm always honored and excited that you're involved with Ecamm alongside it, because I think it's really special.
Yeah, I could do some of the things with a different tool, but not well, maybe half or less than half of what I do with a different tool. And then, the whole community isn't there either. I mean, the Ecamm fam, and a number of them are here today, are just beyond this world, really. It's just such a wonderful community. Some of my best friends ever, I've met them through Ecamm fam, and most of them I've never met in person, which will change, but it doesn't actually matter, because we've just developed such a close connection with something like that, the tool called Ecamm. And Katy was talking about creating a highly edited YouTube video. You can actually do that to some extent with Ecamm as well, using a Stream Deck and using the scenes. It's a very, very clever tool to use. So if you're somebody like me who just, you get into overwhelm, and you just you think, right, this week I'm going to make a YouTube video. Okay, this week has ended. Next week I'm going to make a YouTube video, and you can actually set up processes to do an edited, that isn't edited, YouTube video with B-roll and scenes and music underneath, just using Ecamm and a tool like a Stream Deck, if you want to, if that is going to help you with your workflow, then you can do that. So it's pretty amazing what you can do with Ecamm by just tweaking a few things.
Well, if it's something that you want to do, it's either a lot of planning up front or a lot of post-production work on the end, right? So ideally you find a space where it's somewhere in between. So yeah, I mean, it's all possible. And as you said, the tools that exist within a tool like Ecamm do allow you to be able to plan everything out. And so then when you're actually recording or live streaming, you're able to just kind of go next, and have, all of the graphics and video clips and scenes and things that you've planned out in advance just populate, which makes it less scary when you're trying to just focus on the content itself, but still allows you to keep that level of quality and of production value high, right? So you end up with a really good result without necessarily needing to, do a ton of the editing on the other end. Emily asks a good question. I'm gonna demonstrate over here, bringing questions on screen. There we go. So Emily asks, how do you use music with Stream Deck and Ecamm? What am I missing? So in Ecamm, we have a sound effects panel, Emily. So you can actually bring in any kind of sound effect, whether that's, let me swing on over, whether that's something like drum roll, or I was doing a podcasting class with a whole bunch of 7th graders here, and we were using green screen and playing around with a bunch of video stuff, and we had a shark on screen behind us. So I use a site called Epidemic Sound, and so I grabbed this one here. Right? So you can pull all those in, and you can assign hotkeys to them, and you can also trigger sound effects using a Stream Deck. So you don't actually have to have a Stream Deck to leverage any kind of sound effects or music in Ecamm.
Yeah.
But you can certainly. It's funny. I have a Stream Deck on this desk, and I think it's one of the larger ones, and I never ever use it because for the most part, what I'm doing is pretty simple, and I'm literally just clicking from one scene to the next. So I haven't had much need for it, but a lot of our users live and die with them because they have very complicated productions, or they're maybe they're off screen and they're helping to kind of produce a show, and it just makes it significantly easier. Some of them even have Stream Deck pedals because Katy does all this amazing job with singing. They're holding a guitar or they're doing like crafting or something, so they need to be able to change scenes without their hands. So,
yeah. It's good also to stop people hearing you click, click, click when you're changing scene or adding a sound effect or whatever. They can't hear your mouse. So that's helpful. But Emily does actually adore the sound effects on Ecamm. So she's
like, I got you.
She could create her whole Stream Deck full of various sound effects. So yeah, not only sound effects can you pull them into Ecamm, but you can do whole songs as long as you know that you've got the copyright for them.
Please don't play songs that are not yours. Everything that, as I said, we use Epidemic Sound, which we pay a subscription fee to. But there are free libraries of music, in various spots. But yeah, make sure you have the copyright or permission to use it, or you'll end up in big trouble.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We've ended. We're here at the hour mark as usual. An hour flies by too fast. Always too fast. Is there anything else we missed, Katy? Anything that you wanted to share? Anything else that we should cover? How can people find you or learn more about you?
Yeah, so I'm really a Facebook gal on social media. I am on Instagram, and I am sort of on Twitter and sort of on LinkedIn, but I'm really on Facebook most of the time. So find me on. So I'm spelled Katy compared to Katy here. So Katy Simpson on Facebook. And I have a podcast that you might like to have a listen to called the Thrive with Live Show. So I do all things sort of vodcasting, video podcasting, going live, increasing your confidence, all those things.
Oh yeah, no, you are awesome to follow and chat with and listen to all your content, and all of the links for everywhere you can find Katy are in the description here on YouTube. So definitely grab those, go over, show her some love, because it is always awesome to learn from each other. It's great to learn in a community. Obviously, we're a big fan of that here at Ecamm. So thank you so much for hanging out today, Katy. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We need to have an entire chicken coop to chicken coop live stream once I get my new chickens. We'll do like a live Katy in the UK and Katy in New England, Old England and New England, live from the chicken coop. I think it would be super fun. we can interview our chickens. It'll be ridiculous and super, super fun. But
yes.
Thank you for making this time so fun for me personally, and I'm sure for our viewers and listeners as well. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I really do too. And yeah, I just keep saying Ecamm fam forever. It's the best. If you're not involved in the Ecamm community and you're tuning in, you've just found us, do check out Ecamm Live. It is a fantastic tool, a wonderful, wonderful family in here. And it really will make you up level your look, your confidence, your business in lots of ways that you probably won't realize. So yeah, check it out.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, if you are here and hanging out with us, please swing on over to leapintolive.com and join us for our upcoming virtual conference, completely free, all about the world of live selling. I'm joined by some of the top names in this space. It is April 24th and April 25th, and it is always an incredible time, so hopefully you will join us there. And if you are part of the fam and you want to hang out in real life, we are doing our first in-person event. It is called Creator Camp. It is happening in October here in the New England area. We have very, very limited space. So if you're like, oh, I really, really, really want to be there and meet everyone in real life, please swing over to ecamm.tv/creatorcamp and get on the wait list. We are slowly moving people off the wait list and getting them registered for this event. We want you to be there. We want to see everyone there. So make sure that you are there. Paul is dropping the link into the chat for me. And from both Katys, thank you so much for joining us for Meet the Ecamm Fam. If you want to be on this show, all you need to do is email me, katy@ecamm.com, but Katy IE, and join me for a future episode. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Katy. We will see everyone next time.
Thank you. Take care.